Thank you, Mr. Chairman. H.R. 5147, the Bathrooms Accessible in Every Situation Act would require restrooms in public buildings to be equipped with baby changing stations. This requirement would clarify the existing practice of GSA and only apply to facilities that are available for public use. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I thank the gentleman. Now recognize Mr. Carson for a statement.
Thank you, Chairman. I also support this legislation. I'd like to commend my colleague, Mr. Cicilline, for his leadership on this issue. I know that it wasn't an easy issue to undertake, and has worked with me to bring this bill before our committee today. This bill would require GSA to provide baby changing facilities in buildings that the public has access to. This bill codifies existing GSA policy, Mr. Chairman, in new construction and modernization projects and expands it to buildings that GSA leases. Equal access to baby changing stations in federal buildings in both men's and women's bathrooms across the country are essential to protecting the health and safety of children and encouraging a family-friendly environment. All right, I'm trying to pose. That's a good one. Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
That's good. I thank the gentleman. Do any members wish to be heard on this bill? Mr. Costello is recognized.
Very good bill. I wish to applaud those who spearheaded the effort.
I thank the gentleman. We will now consider the bill for amendment. I recognize Mr. Carson for an amendment.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. My amendment makes several technical changes and clarifications to the language. The amendment narrows the number of restrooms that are included in this requirement to provide a baby changing station by limiting it to those controlled by the GSA. The amendment also clarifies that this requirement only applies to buildings that are receiving a major alteration. I support this amendment and urge my colleagues to join me in advancing this legislation, and I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
I thank the gentleman. Any other members wish to be heard on the amendment? Seeing none, are there amendments to the amendment? Seeing none, the question is on the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. The ayes have it, and the amendment is agreed to. Are there any other amendments? Seeing none, I recognize Mr. Barletta for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that H.R. 5147 as amended be approved and reported favorably to the House.
Questions on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bill is amended and is approved in order to report it favorably to the House. Finally, we will consider 20 general